Good morning, friends. How are you today? I'm so glad to be here with you today to do a meditation. So, I thought what we'd do is we'll do a meditation. I'll chat a little bit about the meditation, and then we can talk about the Schumann resonance and astrology for just a short moment. And then if you have any questions, I'd be happy for you to ask them about the meditation, about achieving a fifth dimensional state of being in the energy field, about what's going on in the energies, any of that we can do. And I'm particularly interested, if any of you who have been practicing, what we've been doing, breathing into the heart, imagining love, and then imagining a ball of that love in a ball and a bright ball of light in the heart, and then expanding that into the body. I'm really interested if any of you um, have been practicing that, and if so, how's it been going? So, all right. Let me get to my page here. Okay, so welcome. Welcome, and I'm so glad you're here today. All right, I'm thinking about how I want to start. Okay, I'd like to do what I call setting the energy. I talked about this in the first couple of meditation videos. So, what we want to do is create the space for more to happen within our body and energy field. But really, it's an orientation of mind, and it's a settling of any emotions and of the human energy system. So the human energy system comprises our body and the energy field that we emit. So to check the energy, and this is a great way to prepare, to make a decision, to make a choice, to check in with guidance, and to begin a meditation. And why do I say that? Because what we're doing is we're creating the space to invite the connection with the divine. And it's a little bit like the idea of entering a temple or participating in a spiritual practice, right? There are steps that you want to take to prepare yourself. And these can go from anything to, okay, I'm going to dress nice today because I'm going to go and do this practice. Or it could be, I'm just going to settle myself and be ready to receive the light that is within me and focus on that. And of course, there are much more detailed preparations for different spiritual practices. Okay, so to set the energies before we start, here's my recommendation. It's to breathe into the heart a couple of times. And as you breathe in, you have the intention that you're going to feel love, know that love exists within the heart. So we're just going to do it quickly before we get into the longer meditation. So you might not be able to generate the feeling of love in that moment because we're going to go just a few quick steps. And if not, that's okay. Just know that the presence of love is available to you in the heart, whether or not you can feel it. Okay, so so I take a couple brief steps, deep breaths into my heart. And then I have the intention to connect into the heart of the earth. And why is that important? It emulates the concept of grounding the energy into the body. Many of us are very sort of out there in our energy. Some people have been that way much of their life. You can get yourself back into the body energetically. Some people, when you get a shock, float above the energy field. And so what I like to do is check in how much of my energy is in my body right now. And I'm a numbers girl, so I'll even ask for percentages. Now, how do you do this check in? Just simply put, open your heart, close your heart. Is your heart open or close? Okay, this is my friend Alex likes to use this one. And the other ways to do it are body kinesiology. If you know that you get a body signal when something is the right thing for you, and you ask for that body signal, yes or no. Okay, so we know that we'll connect with the center of the earth. And the reason that this is important, we want to connect with the center of the earth that is the God connection for the earth. The creator made the entire universe, right? Including this planet, including us, including the soul. And by connecting with, I see it as a golden light, like another sun in the center of the planet, but you may see it a different way. But as long as you know that you're connecting with the multidimensional heart of the earth, the highest frequencies, right? The divinity of this planet that created this planet, it allows you to connect multidimensionally. And why is that important? Because as you shift and change, even within the day, then you are fully connected and grounded throughout your energetic state of being. Okay, so we're going to breathe in and out into the heart and know that we're connected in the earth. And I'm going to ring in. Okay, the higher tones are really nice for helping, or the lower tones are really nice. Higher tones are really nice for intending to clear the space, clear your energy field of whatever's not aligned. So I suggest that you breathe in and breathe out. In the center of your heart, imagine a loving moment. If you've been doing this for a while, you might be able to just go straight to love in the heart and allow yourself to feel love. And breathe. Okay. We're breathing in and out of the heart, and we are imagining a loving moment. It can be from a movie, something that stirred you, maybe that brought tears to your eyes. If you cannot feel love, it's okay. Keep going. Keep going in the knowing that this is possible. If you haven't felt love for a long time, this takes a lot of bravery. If you know how to feel love, that may not make sense to you, but it does. So we're breathing in, breathe out. Imagine love. Feel love in your heart. Your love for yourself, if you need to, your love for an animal, for a family member, for a child. Now, this is how you generate a fifth dimensional state of being. You start here. Can you feel love in your heart? In the heart, as we breathe in and out, you imagine a state of love. I like to see it as a ball of light, and you can allow that ball of light to expand within you. Allow it to fill your body, this feeling of love. If you can imagine it looks like light, beautiful light. In my case, I like to imagine a white light, sometimes a gold light, filling the body. And I'm intending to receive the love of my own soul for me. And we let that flow through the body. You know, when I first started this, I could only do this for 4 or 5 seconds. Now, that beautiful glow in the heart, send it through the body. It's easy to feel it in the hand. You can imagine it flowing to the hand. If you do so, you might imagine your hand feeling warmer, feeling heavier. And take that hand, put it up to your face or elsewhere on your body, and breathe in and breathe out that love. If you feel discomfort or pain, take that love in your hand and place that there. Like if you have a pain in your neck, place your hand where the pain is, right? If you have a toothache, place that hand where the pain is. If your head feels discombobulated, let's do this. Place a hand where you feel the fog. Now, this is a meditational practice, right? An energy practice. We're going to take the light and the love in the heart and just gently allow it to be present in the head, be present in the mind, so that the love of your soul, which you connected it with in the heart, goes to the mind. And remember, we were looking at and imagining and feeling a ball of love, a ball of light in the heart. Bring that to the mind. Allow the pineal gland to fill with that ball of light. From within the gland, the soul light gently and lovingly is present with you in the center of your head, in the center of the brain, in the center of each cell. And ask for clarity. No pressure, no force, just the loving presence of your own soul. And allow what's not in the highest good for you to just move off and move out of the head, move out to the energy field. And sometimes there'll be an entity or an energy that comes out with that. Just let that flow. And I like to call in Archangel Michael to clear whatever's not in the highest good that comes off of the body, of the energy field. If you choose to work with him, you can also work with Jesus. You can work with other spiritual beings that you may work with. Just qualify that this is of the highest light from source level, right? From the level of the divine, the creator of all that is, the creator of the universe, God, the creator of the universe, the source of your own soul at the highest light, at the highest levels. Now, now I want to go through some questions with you. We're going to apply this in a new way today. This feeling of love, right, that you feel inside, the feeling of steadiness, of calm, of comfort, that is at the essence of a fifth dimensional state of being in the field. So from this state, this is the meditation challenge. Let's look at any emotion that's come up for you lately, or an interaction with someone, or you have a question. If you don't have this, then my suggestion is to maintain your breathing while we talk about this. As you call to mind the emotion that you have within yourself or in interaction with someone else, from this state of love and connectedness in the heart, and if you feel it, wonderful. If you know it's possible, wonderful. Ask yourself this: is this emotion mine? Does it come from within me, from the level of my own soul? And see if you get a yes or you get a no. If you get a yes, great, this is yours. This is yours to feel, work with, process. If you get a no, let's ask another question. Does this emotion come from my inner child? Yes or no? And if the answer is I don't know, just let that be okay for this moment. If the answer is I don't know, then just say a quick prayer, asking God to give you clarity as you go through your day, as you go through this time, this moment to yourself. Clarity on, is this mine, this emotion that either I was feeling today or I felt yesterday or that I was feeling about someone else. Now, if it's not of your soul or your inner child, is this not a part of me? Is this not my highest good? And if you get yes on that, command it to leave your field from the level of your soul. This isn't mine, and put it outside the energy field. When I do that, I ask Archangel Michael to wrap it and take it from me and his legions of angels. Sometimes there's a lot to grab. Now breathe in and breathe out. And know that the feeling is outside the field if it's not yours. Know that it's been taken from you to its place of highest good, working with Archangel Michael in this case. You cannot do this working with lower beings. So, that's just violet flame over all that. If the emotion is yours, what you want to do is allow yourself to feel it in a safe manner, at a level that is um, comfortable for you. And we want to bring the intention to that of not allowing the emotion to loop. What do I mean by that? What happens is if we get into a dramatic situation, with a kind of a short circuit will happen in the energy field. And this tends to be a self-protective mechanism, especially when you're in relationship with other people and there's been something upsetting. Now, how do you do this? How do you bring a measure of calm, a measure of balance? You are in that state of breathing and connectedness from the heart. In that state, by applying love, not outside to the other person, not to the story that's going on, but simply to the state that you feel, the state of being. So this is a little more advanced because when we feel pain in the body, we know where that is, and we can intend to bring the light to that. But when it's an emotion, it's more like, where is that in my field or body? Now, sometimes there might be a place in the body that's associated. Maybe it's the heart. Okay, and in that case, we're bringing love to that space in this meditation. But sometimes it just feels like it's floating in the field. I like to do show and tell. So here, this will be the emotion. No, here it is. This is the emotion. Okay, it's covered over. Right, it's covered over. And what I want you to do is as you feel this emotion that's yours, right? Whether it's just something you felt or between you and someone else, we're going to allow the other person to be outside the field and just focus on how I feel. And as you do that, that love that you generated in the heart, I want you to apply that to this emotion that's in your field, right? Nothing else is in the field. We've essentially cleared the field through generating love. So you apply that here. Just love, just unconditionally, no mind chatter, nothing else, right? It's not necessarily easy, is it? And that light, right? That feeling of light. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do a show and tell here because I've got matches. Okay. So here's the emotion, and here's the flame within the heart. So you apply that to the emotion. And as you do that, what you're going to find is the emotion transforms. Isn't that awesome? Yeah, that's what it looks like in energy in my imagination when I do this. This is called energy work. And for me, it's an integral part of the meditation practice. There is a more neutral meditation practice. And this is what I was taught when I went to meditation class. But friends, it's time to do the work. And that act of applying the love first to the self, of allowing it to generate from within the heart and then flow through you, be in you, and allow it to connect in the bubble of your field. Okay. So here's my water. And the water is in a container, right? So the container is clear, right? I can't see the cells, the components of the water. I can't see the molecules of it, but yet I know they're there, right? So just like if you can't feel love, you know it's there. And just like the air in my field, right? Or the energy, I cannot perceive it necessarily with my eyes, but I know it's there. And I want to perceive a container around myself and my field that is of me. And I do this to collect the energy in my field and keep it to myself, to let it be filling me up. And the reason that this is important, especially if you're empathic, you're energy sensitive. Many times we just flow that right out of the field because you want to give and give and give. And if you have an issue with abundance, if you have an issue with receiving, here's your first way to practice. Let you receive yourself. Let yourself receive the love of your own soul. Because at the very basis of receiving in the world, this is the key. This is the core component of that I receive the gift of God that is for me, the connection with my own soul. This is the most valuable thing in the universe. It's the most valuable thing as a living human on the planet, from my perspective, the relationship with the divine, the living flame of God that you are. Okay, so I'm going to close the meditation and discussion. Thanks to those of you who said hi. If you have any questions about the meditation or energy that we just talked through, you can do that. If you have any questions about energy or the Schumann, we can do that. I'm looking at the chart right now for the Schumann resonance, and it's Tuesday, April 18th. We have the new moon coming tomorrow evening on the Pacific coast at 9:12 p.m. Pacific time. So I wonder if the big wave that was shaped kind of like a knife, because it comes at an angle, the white resonance, I wonder if that was our new moon energy or if we're going to get something else. The interesting feature that's been on the chart the last 3 days, including today, is this rod of light that just comes in, right? And it just looks strong because unlike the verticals that come in that might be only 1 pixel wide on this chart, and I'll put a link to it when I complete this live. But if you go to my Substack, I have a link to the live chart and I have a link to the daily charts. But for 3 days, we've gotten this rod of light that lasts almost an hour. Today, it lasted a full hour, especially in the lower hertz. And we can see it forming again. And it's really interesting because on the 16th, it started at 1700 hours. On the 17th, it started at 1800 hours. And on the 19th, today on the chart, now in the USA, it's still the 18th, but there's day-night reversal with the chart because it's in Tomsk, Russia. Today, it started at 20 hours, which is 10 p.m. on the chart. So it's interesting because it's like there's been a lengthening, right? A lengthening of the periodicity of this energy. Now, I don't know, what is that? Is it like a countdown energy to the new moon? It's brighter the second day. Will it be for more hours today? We'll find out as the day goes on in the USA because it's during our day that this is happening. And the other thing I wanted to say is there was a shift in the energy about 4 days ago. You might have noticed there was a green band again at the top of the chart from 0 to 15 hertz. And then it just stopped. The chart was clear all the way to the top, very much blue and just lines, some big lines of green. What does all this mean? Well, the Schumann resonance is an energy in the air around us. So you can see the link, right, between talking about the air or the energy in our human energy field and the Schumann. Because if I'm walking in the air, I'm walking in the atmosphere of our planet as I move through my day, as I walk outside, right? The resonances are in that space from the surface of the planet to the atmosphere. So I'm moving among this energy and other energy as well. So within the range of 0 to 40 hertz, because this is a non-physical measurement of electromagnetic energy, there are 4 resonances. Now, 0 to 40 hertz just happens to be the same range as human brain waves. And the resonances, in my view, reflect states of consciousness in the human experience. This is how I view the meaning of the Schumann resonance. I mean, there are 7 or 8 billion of us generating these brain waves every day at all the different levels, right? Because half the planet is sleeping, half the planet is awake, having their day, as we move throughout the entire globe. Um, so yeah, I look at it as a map of human consciousness. And then I track the brainwave levels to the levels of hertz being experienced on the chart. And I track the images because over the years they recur and certain things can tend to happen at certain times. So the reason that I pointed out the rods of energy is this, because we have been having essentially a similar effect in another part of the chart. Behind the images are data, and the data is what comes together to create the image chart. Where we've been having a similar rod-like effect is in the green qualities. It's my view that the green represents the general state of humanity, so I view it as a positive. And before the pandemic, the green used to be at 31, used to peak at 31 in the green qualities very often. Okay. And actually, I'm going to put the chart. Let me see if I. Let me see if I can figure out how to put a link to this. And oh, I know, I can put it in the chat. There we go. Okay, there's the link to the chart. So if you want to follow along with what I'm looking at the qualities right now. I'll put a link to that in the chart too. Okay. So the nice thing is they've recently added English names. So thank you, chart people, for doing that. That's the link to the quality there, page 14. So if you look at it and you look at green, what you can see is that the numbers on the key on the left and the right, green's way higher than every other resonance, and it spikes to 31. Pre-pandemic, the chart could literally be full of spikes to 31. As qualities rise, in my view, the human experience is we feel closer to our own soul. I explained that in detail in one of my last couple of videos, so I'm not going to go into that further today. But you feel closer to the truth of who you are. It's like getting a surge of confidence. It's like getting a surge of insight, right? And then you don't necessarily act on it that day, but your energy has risen up. So it's my view that these energies are not in the moment. They're a reflection of an energy that's available to you or that becomes available to you or that we create within the human energy field. So right now I'm talking about the Schumann resonance and the meaning on the chart in general and specifically today because the qualities are spiking. And here's the interesting thing, after the big wave of energy, you know what? Let me put my article. I'm going to put my article that I just published in the links as well, so you can see that. Um, let's see here. I just published 2 articles on the Schumann and the astrology charts. Let's see here. So here's the article from last night. And in this article, I have a link also to my video on the wave of energy. And now I'm going to give you the article before that. And in that video, I talked in detail about qualities and how I view them as expressing. So here's this second article, copy link. I'll put that in there. Okay. All right. So where was I? So since the big wave of energy on the 17th on the chart, today we get 3 spikes in the green space throughout the day on the chart so far. I view this as rising confidence within the human self. And for the last few weeks, this has been the case. And I said this on my video from last night. I feel that the human collective, that we have this sense that something important is going on in the world, and it's kind of like it's that moment where you say, "Am I gonna do this or not?" Am I gonna leap forward or not? And when we leap forward, we're leaping out of faith, right? Because when we're at this moment in time, we cannot see the next step usually. Sometimes it's because our emotions are so high. Sometimes it's because our emotions are so high. And if you have questions, I'll answer them in a moment. Thanks for putting that in there. Sometimes we don't know how we feel, right? What I feel helps the most at the moment of the leap, right? At the moment of the precipice, at the moment of the sense that I need to do something here. It's from faith and it's from trust. Yeah, radical acceptance. Hi, Greta. Thanks so much for being here today. So here's a movie. There's a movie where Harrison Ford. It's one of the Indiana Jones movies, and it's the movie where he goes on the quest for the Grail, and he eventually finds the Grail. Spoiler alert. There's a moment there where he's at a cliff edge, and there's a deep ravine, and across the ravine is another cliff edge, and he can see the opening into a cave. And he says to himself, I can't have come this far to fall into the precipice. Like, this is not going to happen, right? I know that this is the way, but there's got to be a path between me and where I'm going. And I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to achieve that. So, what does he do? He comes to the conclusion that there's got to be a path that he cannot see in the moment. Um, and so he looks within, and he reaches down, grabs a fistful of sand and throws it out before him. And sure enough, there lights up an invisible path. The invisible path was covered over. Okay. And why was that? Just like the meditation and just like the discussion of energy that we had earlier in this live, right? This water in the glass is an example of the energy in my field, right? Right now, I have energy in my field going out from my head, going out from my body. But can you see that? No, with your eyes. Now, maybe some of you can see auras. Okay. So some of you might be able to see the energy in the field. And I'm not giving permission to go in the field here, just to be clear. No. Always keep your permissions firm. So my discussion of energy does not shift my permissions. But why couldn't he see the path until he connected with the frequency of faith and trust? God would not have brought me this far to fail. God brought me this far, and there's got to be a highest outcome, right? The best is still yet to come. How could that be possible from this vantage point? I cannot see the water, yet I know, right? I cannot see the molecules, but I know that this water has molecules. I cannot see the energy in my field, but I know that there's energy in space around me. That comes from knowing. Now, it can come from a mental analysis, but in the question of what do I do at this critical moment, the answer is at a higher level, energetic state of being that is only accessible through a fifth dimensional state of being, through the relationship that you have with God, through the relationship of trust and faith in the divinity that created you. And you cannot necessarily see that energy. Sometimes we might have a spiritual experience where we see an angel suddenly that we couldn't see before, right? In the movie, Harrison Ford through the sand and saw the path. There was a path between the two cliff faces. It existed at a higher state of being. And how did he get onto that path? He had to jump. He had to leap. He could now see it with his eyes. But this is weird, right? It wasn't there before, yet he made the leap that this bridge would support him. And that was acting in faith. That was maintaining that state in the field and then living it in life. And my friends, this is how we get through the energy that is very intense at the moment. And this is how we deal with the energy of an eclipse at these intense energies as well, right? Because tomorrow's new moon is at the same timing, well, 4 minutes apart. 4 minutes after the peak of the new moon is an eclipse. Wow, I'm just with the energy here of the leap. So just give me a moment here because, this is the same energy. And there have been tornadoes in the center of the country. And I've only been in a tornado warning once when I was traveling, and I was just frightened as all get out. um, I could only imagine what those of you who have to face that go through, right? It might be similar to when an earthquake happens in California, and I'm not giving any permission for this. I'm creating a space of sacred discharge, so I'm able to tell stories without generating or invoking energy, right? I burn the violet flame as I'm speaking through my mouth so that the energy is in a state of neutral and the story is in a state of neutral, even though the people in the story had emotions. So the same thing in an earthquake in California. What's happening in an earthquake? You're praying, okay? So I'm guessing that the majority of people in an earthquake are praying for it to end soon, for it to be easy, for it to be gentle, to survive the earthquake. And I'm guessing that it's similar in a natural event like a tornado in the center of the country. The only one time I was in that and there was no tornado in my area, that's what I was doing. I was praying, right? So when we're in these states of facing something unknown, I want you to also understand, and I invite you to think about this. What I invite you to think about is that the shift could be a positive. And I want to explain why. In the videos that I just did and especially in the first article in the list that I just popped in there, I in detail explained about the energies that Uranus is at, which is the shift maker, the energies that Pluto is at the moment, and the energies of the sun. And I'll give you an example. If you've been doing the work and where you are aligned within, right? Where are those spikes in the green qualities? I'm relating it back to the Schumann, right? When that green quality energy spikes, we got this. We're more confident. Suddenly, I know what the answer is, right? It comes up from within me like Indiana Jones. He sees the path between the two cliff faces and he leaps, right? Spike in the green quality. In that case, probably extremely high. um, so, what I'm saying here is that um, it can be to the positive, and I'll give you an example. In the exact energies that I described in my last video, the astrology of the knife-shaped wave, right? I had a striking spiritual insight in the past week, and right before, 2 days before the wave happened. And was it shocking? Did I have to discuss something unpleasant, but then suddenly had all of these life-changing insights? Absolutely. And it's allowed me to elevate and just toss out a whole bunch of things that were old, that I had my mind around, that I can suddenly see I don't need to do it that way anymore. And then do you see how that would lift someone up to be able to see a new path? That is operating and living and acting in a fifth dimensional state of being. So when people talk about the new earth, it's not going somewhere. Here's the earth. Here it is right here in this body. Here's the earth. The earth is this body. The new earth is me bringing a new state of being to this physical form. Hello. I don't need to get in a spaceship and travel anywhere. I don't need to leave this form and go into a different form. I can generate a light body from right here, right now. Boom. She's here. I'm going to let her wave to you. This does not change my energetic permissions. Okay, now I'm going to bring that light body all around me, behind me, and put it on fire. The golden light and the flame of divinity that I am, and just be that in this moment. Ta-da! So these concepts of ascension and descension, what I'm doing, I'm joking a little bit, but it's not a mystery, right? It doesn't have to be a mystery anymore. It's my view that the pioneering way to do this, and all these planets and energies are in Aries right now. The pioneering way, the Aries energy, the new way, Mars, action, is to do this in the human body, in the human form. Hi, hi, Easter girl. I mentioned you earlier in the video, Alex. Thanks for being here. So we can elevate the human form. And when I just talked about I can generate a light body, I am in my light body now in this moment, okay, as I'm also in the physical form. So now I've taken that loving state that I generated during the meditation and I see it in its fifth dimensional state as my whole being, powered by soul. This is a divine force. So here's the secret. If a person cannot connect with love, this is a tougher state to generate, except if you don't understand that you already are generating love through, for example, knowing, the energy of knowing. Because unconditional love can feel like neutral. It can feel like nothing. And this confused me at first until I realized that it feels like until I allow the fifth dimensional state to be present in the third and the fourth dimension of the physical and the astral, pure unconditional love feels like neutral. Why? Because it's non-judgmental. There's no charge, positive or negative. Now, when I connect with my own soul and the body and I imagine love, I'm engaging the physical energy structure. I'm engaging emotions. I'm engaging, I'm engaging thoughts through the creation of the process, right? Mm. Yeah. Yes. So it's my view that these states of being that I'm talking about, right? This is what I relate with the Schumann resonance because the Schumann resonance is from a range of 0 to 40 hertz, and that matches human brain waves. So when I'm doing a meditation, am I also generating brain waves? Yes. But I'm doing more than that with the energy system. And that's where we get into the picking through of what are the details of this little ball of energy. Is it in the frequency range of one of the resonances? Okay, let me get my ball example. Here I am. I'm generating a state of being in my human energy field. Have I done this with my mind from 0 to 40 hertz? If so, it's in the range of the Schumann resonances. Okay, isn't that interesting? Now, how do I qualify that? what comprises that energetic state of being? In my view, if it's a dense state of being where one has extreme anger, fear, right? Then it's covered over love, or it's hard to feel my unconditional love. If it's a more joyful state of being, right? Then it feels different in the energy field. So I believe that these different states are reflected in the resonances. So the red on the space observing system chart, the red being more denser emotions, but also our passion, the shadow side of the personality. The yellow being the astral, the non-physical around the human form. The green being the general state of the human, and the white being the spiritual experience. So when it comes to ascension and descension, what we're talking about is understanding the multiple dimensional states we can have in the field. We can have a lower state or a higher state. We can have a state connected with unconditional love, generating a fifth dimensional state of being or not, right? But that connection is from the level of the soul. So I want to talk about one more thing about this, and that's the concept of parasitism, parasitic energy. Because we've been, as human beings, we've been unaware of the concept that we have an energy field. Now, if we have a field with a boundary, right, like this glass, and it has a boundary, the glass, that the water can be within. In my field, the energy is within the structure of my field. And I like to imagine an actual sphere, right, that contains my energy. I call this the crucible of energy of my field. And I set permissions. Nothing can get in or out that's not in my highest good, right? I do not agree to receive transmissions that are not in alignment with the truth of my own soul at the highest levels of love and light, right? At the highest levels of literally the creator's love for me expressed into human form. Wow, my voice just changed. It just got deeper. Right, because of the acknowledgement, I'm bringing it in. The acknowledgement that this is big, right? This is big, that at that level, I am loved. That the literal creator of the universe loves this little human being, 1 out of 7,000,000,000, 7.7 billion, right? And yet the creator loves me passionately and with a pureness of heart that is beyond my comprehension. Although I have experienced it in spiritual experience, and it was incredible. Ah, wow, that was big. I'm bringing that love to right now. I feel suddenly my body feels stressed, and why is that? Yeah, it's, mm, can be hard to, what is more challenging than to understand that the living God would love a relationship with you, right? Now I've got Jesus here with me, Jesus Christ, and just feeling his presence. I'm having a spiritual experience with you guys right now. Mm, a little bit. It feels a little embarrassing to me. Okay, so this is being in a physical being I'm in a fifth dimensional state of being, but yeah, I can feel that the body, right, the lower state, the third and the fourth is like, "Should I feel embarrassed right now?" So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna bring that love to those emotions, just like we did in the meditation, remember? Okay, so I'm just gonna be it right here, right now with you. Woo, this is the adventure. Here I am embarrassed. That's my emotion of being embarrassed while also feeling unconditional love. I'm going to apply that love so that it transmutes. Let me just do that in a moment. Yeah. Mm. So you see what that was, right? What is this from? How many times have I sat in church and had to listen to the, and I'm gonna invoke a sacred space of sacred discharge over this. In the sermon, in the liturgy. Now it's hard for me to get details, because I'm in the fifth dimensional state of being. My mind doesn't wanna process the minute details. Um in both Catholicism, but it was also in, Episcopalian churches. I don't know if it's in other Protestant churches, but what they say is, they make everyone say every Sunday, "Lord, I am not worthy to receive you, but only say the word and I shall be healed." And finally, I started saying, "No, I do not consent to that. I am worthy to receive God's love for me," right? Lower forces, no, I do not consent to your offer that I'm not worthy. No, I do not consent to that. Unconditional love, right? I transmute the embarrassment to unconditional love, and now it's all good. Woo, that was exciting. See what I'm talking about? This is the adventure. This is the pioneering that we have the opportunity to do as, humans that are alive during this shift. And as we do this more and more, and we live it day to day, right? Even in this moment, talking to you, I live the new experience of transmuting the energy in the field, declining the offer from the lower state of being, right? From the habit of mind, from the habit of life, right? That I experienced for literally, I mean, I went to church. My parents brought me to church for the first, till I was 16. And here's the thing, you know, I let go any feelings about that and transmute them. I have no ill feelings about that because that gave me a relationship with God. It gave me the opportunity to develop prayer, to develop the relationship, to develop a relationship for me with Jesus Christ, which is important to me, and which guided me through many, many hard times. So I bless it all, That whole structure has been created over 2,000 years, the structure of our churches. So let's cut them a break and now bring the new to it. That's where I'm at with it. That does not mean accepting abuse. It does not mean accepting what's not aligned. But what do? I sit in church, and when I hear that stuff, I say, no, I do not consent. This is the new energy structure, right? This is the new energy structure. It is. I am worthy to receive this. I know it, and I be this in the moment. And I can't tell you how many times now I've done that in church. I have a real synergistic love and relationship for Erasmus. Erasmus was a Middle East, not a Middle East, Middle Ages writer and philosopher who rewrote the entire liturgy. And he translated the Bible, which was an incredible act for his time. Um, And I used to go to a church where they printed out the liturgy, and I know that this might sound sacrilegious to some people, but I would just sit in there and write the new words of the new liturgy in there. I am worthy to receive you, God. I am worthy to be alive and have a living connection with God and with my own soul, right? I'd sit there and rewrite the liturgy and then I would just laugh thinking, "I wonder if Erasmus did that." And that's why he rewrote it, because he kept sitting in church thinking, "There's gotta be a better way to say this." All right, let me look and see what the questions are and say hi to you all. So, give me a second here, okay? So I think that I talked about setting intentions related to the eclipse. For me, it's about having that state to and you I can't maintain this all day, okay? I've gotta go back to it, reset the energies. Now, are there some days where I've been able to maintain a 5D state? Yes. And that's been wonderful. But resetting the energies. Okay, let me see if there's any other questions here. Aaron, thank you for being here today. I really appreciate your being here. Dejan, Dejjn. So interesting that you are here today. I really appreciate your being here. It's so interesting. I don't know if you know this, but there's a Greek goddess, Deianira, and she was married to. Oh, I don't know if she's a goddess, but she was married to Hercules, and she had a very tragic story. But this tragic story gives us the tools to rise out of victimhood and reclaim the relationship with the soul. And within the astrology chart at the moment, this up, down is so prominent. And it complements, it complements the energies on the Schumann where we're having these big spikes, almost like encouraging us on our journey. When I say the astrology chart, and then I'm going to finish up, when I say the astrology chart is showing an up down energy, what I mean is, for example, when Pluto went to 0 degrees Aquarius, there was a triangle of energy in the center of the chart between Pluto, Ceres, and Sedna. Okay. So Pluto's the lord of the underworld. So he goes down to the underworld, rules it. Okay. And then is able to come back up should he desire. Again, I've declared a space of sacred discharge. I'm not invoking any external energies here, but I am being present with the energies of my own soul, which include the shadow, which include my shadow, right? We all have a shadow and light. I'm just laughing over that. So on the astrology chart, Ceres is in the triangle with Pluto. Now, a triangle is very positive, and she went down into the underworld to rescue her child, who was grabbed by Hades, a form of Pluto, and taken to the underworld. She went down there and got her. Okay, this is the divine mother, the strength of presence and being, right? That she would just say, F it, I'm going to the underworld and getting her back. And so that's very admirable energy. And Ceres had to go through a lot to get through that journey of going down there. And it's essentially a journey of bearing the soul, right? Because we are willing to bring the light to the whole of who we are, no matter what that is, and face it. Face it. That's the meaning of going to the underworld and recovering the child, which on a personal level is the inner child, right? We recover our relationship with the wounded self, and then we return it to the soul, the rest of the soul that we are in living human form, or send it back to the oversoul, depending on where you are with that state of being. The other point in the triangle on the astrology chart when Pluto went into Aquarius was Sedna. Sedna was thrown overboard by her father, okay, in a storm, and she sank to the bottom of the ocean. And then, through the course of her transformation, which is a Pluto energy, she rose back up through the ocean and recovered herself and became a goddess. She transmuted into her divinity, just like we talked about in the meditation. I'm going to bring the light to this human form. I'm going to allow it to shine through me, through the soul that I already am. So I take the human form, which is at a lower dimensional state. I elevate this form, this way of being, this life into a fifth dimensional state, and I maintain my third dimensional state at the same time. Okay. This is revolutionary. So you had that up down energy of going to the depths and coming up from Pluto, Sedna, um, and Ceres as Pluto moved into Aquarius. So what does this say from an astrological perspective? Because this colors all of the energies. Um, and what that says is that this is a core feature of the move from Pluto into Aquarius, which will be occurring over the next 2 years, right? Because Pluto's gonna go back into Capricorn, move into Aquarius, go back into Capricorn, move into Aquarius. So I invite you, to look at your shadow side. And what I wanna say is sometimes, this can require assistance. If you are struggling, that you reach out and you reach for the resources, whether that's a healthcare professional, like a psychologist that you feel you need to work with, and on a spiritual level, maybe it's someone who has shamanic training. Maybe it's the training to go through meditation. Maybe it's the training in the spiritual work of bringing the light of your own soul, shining that light into the areas that have been past traumas and wounds in your life. But this is the time to do it over the next 2 years, and here's the thing, the rewards are great because everybody talks about the astrology energies in terms of the negatives, okay? But here's the thing, shocks can result in a positive. Shocks can result into, "I moved to an incredibly new place and I love it." Shocks can result into, "I just received this incredible gift," or, "I changed my viewpoint so much that now my life is turning around," right? These are the opportunities as well, with Pluto moving into the Aquarius and generating this incredible grand trine of energy in the center of the chart, okay? So even though Uranus is on the land, right? Uranus is in Taurus at 17 degrees, at least it was yesterday when I looked, 11:11. Woo! Time to finish up here, but I wanna complete the astrological concept that goes with the meditation we talked about, and that goes with the Schumann that we talked about, because all of these energies play together, okay? So here's what it is. Um, what it is that we are transforming the land. I am the land. Uranus in Taurus, I transform myself, and it can happen in a moment. So if you don't feel love in your heart, right, as you're doing the meditation, hang in there because these are the energies where sudden shifts are possible, right? So Uranus in Taurus, dramatic shifts to the land, dramatic shifts to the human body. I am the land. This is the land my soul inhabits. This is the form. I am the living soul and form speaking through this body, although I do not remember or have the wisdom of the ultimate soul that I am from direct from the creator. Okay, I'm doing the best I can here. Do you see that? Do you see the miraculous shift that Taurus with Uranus in it can bring? And is it uncomfortable? Yes. It's extremely uncomfortable. I know I've been so, and part of the reason it's uncomfortable is because of the interpretations, but because we also have a sense that change is coming somehow in our world. But if the change is what kept us from achieving this living connection with God in some way, then why not? Why not allow that change to occur? Because when I first started shifting to a fifth dimensional state of being in my field, all right, this was over 10 years ago for me that I started this practice that I'm walked you through at the beginning of this video. Did I feel shifts in my body and my field? Yes, I did. And it was a physical experience as well as an energy experience, and I am very grateful for it. Because as we allow the 5D state to take hold from within our heart, and what I mean is generated by us, this is not from outside the self, and I walked through the details in the meditation earlier. Mm. But as we generate this within the self, it causes shocking shifts, okay? Um, Once I chose to embody, to recover my soul, right? In this Pluto into Aquarius, right? The triangle of energy that's about going to the depths and bringing back the soul, right? Going to the depths, i.e., the soul comes to earth, lands in the body, And then we recover the soul by bringing it to light, bringing it to our attention, bringing it into the human form, through being, through connection, through the loving, the willingness to receive love. Okay. So in one of my previous meditations, I talked about the 4 ways that it's important to be willing, and that opens the door for us to create this state of being within. And the work is simply allowing the love of our own soul through the heart into the body, into the form, into the field, and to be willing to understand that I am loved this much by the creator of all that is. I am loved this much by the living flame of light that is my own soul. So, this is how we can, in a shockingly pioneering way, look at the astrology of this time, right? That it's a transformation literally of the human ourselves, right? And that transformation occurs in thought first. And we have all these planets in Aries, the astrological sign of the head, inviting us to shift and change. Okay. And it's important to moderate, where you feel, don't overdo it with these energies, because they can affect the physical. And in the meditation, I talked about how to address thought loops that get too intense in the field, by applying the state of being, the fifth dimensional state of being, to them. So isn't this interesting? This is a fascinating way to look at the astrology. Okay, so it's been wonderful being with all of you today. Thank you so much for being here. God bless. Have a really happy new moon and a wonderful day.